So, Chad, this is Thalassophobic Curiosities. For those that don't know, that means fear of deep water. This is a collection of images and videos and words by Slender Ender Guy. And this pack is huge. So I'm just going to be doing as many as I can. This is a personal project they've been working on for like almost 4 years, it says here. And so here I am, about to make my favorite streamer read a bunch of text about deep sea life. Here's the criteria. I picked the following entries based on if they look or have attributes that are otherworldly, alien, creepy, or bizarre. Basically things that some of you may not want to encounter in the ocean. So, huge shout out to YouTube channel Deep Sea Oddities, of course, because they're making some really good stuff. Anyway. Chat, the anglerfish. This is probably one of the most famous ones. You know, if you played Outer Wilds, you might know a little bit about it. Just as an example, but plenty of games and tons of other things have referenced such a strange creature. This is not covering a specific species, so I just lumped them all together. As terrifying as they look, almost all of them are small. They possess a lure to attract prey into their gaping mouths, since they aren't the fastest deep-sea predators around. A few of you may not know this, but you see a majority of the time are females. Oh, the ones that you see. The males are very small and don't look frightening. So, for example, this one is a male anglerfish. Oh! Yeah, I mean, that's pretty... That's actually pretty cute. Okay. However, the males are still freaks of nature. If you know how fish mate, throw that information out the window. What the male would do is bite onto the female and hold on until they fuse with the body and become a vestigial husk. What? To put it simply, the male becomes a living nutsack for the females, and they will remain that way until they die. Sometimes more than one male can latch onto a female at a time. Well, this is very, oh god. It's very academic when you hear something like they become an actual nutsack. But here's another female anglerfish. Oh, that one's weird. I don't like things with lots of, just my brain rejects it. If there's, like, lots of, like, strands or legs, yeah. Tendrils, thank you. Like, thin tendrils. No, thank you. The anglerfish, that is very weird. Alright. Snailfish. These fish may look more weird than scary, but what makes them scary is where they live. They live in the deepest known parts of the ocean, including the Mariana Trench. If you were at that depth, you would implode in less than a nanosecond, or instantly. Except for James Cameron, of course. So, as an example, here we have a depth chart. So you can kind of see how far down that is. And, yeah, I'm assuming that Hadopelagic, I might be saying that wrong, is the Mariana Trench. So that is really, 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 really far down. So here's more. I like these snailfish, though. They look cool. They look surprisingly normal, too, for how, like, far down they live. Slimy, though. They're just, like, fleshy, weird, blobby fish. And, I wonder what happens when you take them out of pressure. Because, like, the blobfish ends up becoming a very strange-looking creature. You just saw? They explode. They fall apart. Is this... I don't know if this picture was taken at normal, you know, like, ground level, sea level. But, I don't know. Anyway, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm not a scientist. I'm just here to read, and I'm here to look at some cool shit. It was out of water. Well, what if it's out of water on the... Okay, I guess it's pressurized. Never mind. Dumb question. I thought maybe it was on the submersible, chat. This is the barrel eye fish. This thing fits the definition of alien. It looks how a normal fish would look until you get to its head. Its incredibly sensitive eyes are protected with a transparent dome-like membrane. Although they look like they're always looking up, they can actually turn their eyes to look forward. Yeah, alien is a great way to describe that, considering you can see through their fucking skull. It's really cool, though. It almost looks like a dolphin head when you look at it, like, from the side profile. Next is the telescope fish. Whoa! I'll admit, this does look unnerving. They have really sensitive eyes that can spot the slightest traces of bioluminescence. They will usually sit upwards with their eyes pointing towards the surface in hopes of having prey swim in their line of sight. I wish most of us had that level of patience, especially nowadays. Ba-da-bam. What if fish got addicted to TikTok? This is very... I don't like it, chat. This is very disturbing. This is a very disturbing looking creature. Oh, that's a different looking one. Or maybe that's with its mouth fully closed. Really, really, really cool, though. Oh, God. You wake up in the morning and you see that. What do you do? Here's the tripod fish. I've never seen this thing before. These fish are basically your average deep-sea dwelling fish, but they possess large tips on their fins that allow them to hold their body off the ocean floor, sometimes up to 1 meter. Due to the depths they live at, their eyes, if they still have any, are practically useless. But I do say that if they still have eyes, because they do have them when they're at their larval stage. And my goodness, they look cool at that stage. So here's the larval stage. Oh yeah, they do have tiny eyes. They're like almost jellyfish-looking things, too. Wow. The Gridy fish. These fish are related to the previously mentioned fish. Just like the larval stage of the previous fish, it starts out with eyes, but its eyes will turn into bizarre plate-like structures that are photosensitive. Not a whole lot is known about their eyes, since they live at very deep depths, and since they haven't been seen much. Not a ton of photos here. Mostly, yeah, got a drawing. Got this. And again, the spooky music, I know these aren't necessarily spooky things, but I feel like it kind of fits. The Sarcastic fringehead. I'm not kidding, that's the name of this fish. A lot of you should know this one. These look like ordinary fish with a vibrant color palette, but when it opens its mouth, it ends up looking like a yachtja from the Predator movie series. They may look intimidating, but that's the point. Their odd mouth structure is used to intimidate those who trespass in their territory. They will also use their mouths in territorial disputes by pressing each other's gaping mouths together to determine who's bigger. The loser gets evicted from its home. They are aggressive, but be thankful they only get up to 1 foot long and that their bites are not really painful. Don't really quote me on the biting thing. I can only guess based on its teeth. God damn. Shit's weird. There it is. Oh god, it does look like the predator a little bit, and that like dinosaur too. That one dinosaur that spit. Not worth risking it for the throat game, chat. Now listen. Listen. Who would win in a fight, a sarcastic fringehead or a sarcastic cringehead? Someone had to know I was going to say that, right? Someone. Sunfish or mola mola. This is I'm very aware of these fish. They're really, really interesting. These fish are recognizable for its unusual body shape and large size. They're the biggest bony fish with a mass weighing up to 6,000 pounds. The reason they're called sunfish is because of their habit of floating to the ocean's surface on their sides, basking in the sunlight. Sunfish mainly eat jellyfish or other soft-bodied creatures like salps, but they will eat small fish or crustaceans on occasion. One of the most fascinating things about these fish is their growth. They start their lives only being a few millimeters in size before growing into the behemoths they are. Portal 2 music. It's the Rat Man. Tiny to absolutely tremendous. God, those are big. Do they, like, do people fish for sunfish? Like, do they taste good? I've seen photos of sunfish with chunks taken out of them, though. But no. They taste like shit. They're fucking awful, I'm being told by chat. That's their... Because there's a lot of meat. They just had to, like, taste like shit, I guess. Good for them. The Orefish. This is another kind of famous one. Animal Crossing has some of these fish. These fish are the longest bony fish in the world. Some saying they could grow up to 50 feet long. The longest specimen reported was 36 feet long, even though most are seen with a length of 10 feet long or a little over. These fish are most likely the inspiration for the sea serpents in some art pieces long ago. Most sightings of these fish are usually when they beach themselves, although there have been a few sightings in their deep water habitats. The reason they beach themselves is either due to deteriorating health or their lives are coming to an end. But due to this behavior, they earn themselves the nickname of doomsday fish because of a superstition that basically states that if you see one of these fish on the shore, an earthquake or an other natural disaster is coming. Thankfully, there's been no scientific data to back up these claims. Wow. That is nuts. I can see why people would confuse them or like, you know, have a legend of like a sea serpent if they saw something like this. Like that's nuts. That's why like when the word alien is used for some of this deep sea life, it really does ring true to me. Because it's just not what you see, like the things that we see on land. That's all well and good, but yeah, this thing. And a lot of these other fish are really, really just like, I don't know, there's like a visceral reaction I have to some of them even. Here's the whalefish. These unusual looking red fish spend most of their lives in the depths at roughly 3,300 feet. Yes, 3,300 feet below the surface. Their remarkable red coloring is an adaptation they've evolved over time that helps them stay invisible to most deep sea carnivores. Same goes for a large number of deep sea inhabitants who have evolved to have red pigment. Just like the anglerfish, they exhibit extreme sexual dimorphism. The males are typically smaller and skinnier compared to the bulkier females. So, here's the comparison. Huh. People are saying Mario 64. I mean, oh, speaking of Animal Crossing, yeah, I can see a little bit, maybe that first image, but not these. That's fucking strange. Marine hatchet fish. Huh. These bizarre-looking fish give off an unsettling gaze that you could lose a staring contest to. They're usually small, being able to lay in the palm of your hand. Aside from their strikingly reflective bodies, they have a cool technique to keep themselves hidden from predators. Since they live close enough to the surface but deep enough to faintly see ambient light, they have the ability to mask themselves by using photophores, lining their stomachs to match the brightness of the ambient light. This allows them to hide in the open and tricks predators into thinking that there is nothing swimming above them. Wow. Active camo. Someone said, what the fuck is the point of fish? What do they even do? I mean, you could really kind of argue that for any life. Like, what does anything do? We're just kind of here. I don't know, dog. We swim, they swim, whatever. You know? Don't think too hard about it. Go play some video games. Ooh, okay. It says 53 is good emote material. Well, that is picture 53. Man. See, I really hope if aliens are real, they don't look like this. It's like the Mars attacks thing. Of like, could you imagine aliens are real and they're like, we wish to make peace with humans. We just hear them over, like, you know, the radio waves or whatever. And we're all like, wow, finally. We mean you no harm. We wish to tell you the secrets. And we wish to come to your planet and spend time. They're not coneheads. We come from France. No, it's more like these aliens are just hypothetically, we only hear them. We don't know what they look like. We set a time and a date. Everyone, the world is watching. And we want to make friends with these aliens. And they look like this. And everyone's like, ooh. Yeah, they're like, can we explore your New York City? Can we take a look at your Disneyland and your Paris, France? Paris? No, we're closed, actually. Earth is closed. You know, like 5 years ago, there was a thing that happened and we had to, like, you know, shut down a lot of stuff. We're still shut down. So you can go back. And you can go back, and we'll let you know when we're ready. Thank you. That's also a marine hatchet fish. This fellow is the deep sea lizard fish. With a haunting face like that, it's no wonder they have the title of being the deepest apex predators of the sea. They hunt at crushing depths reaching 8,500 feet. Wow. Don't let their scary appearance trick you. They only grow up to being around 2.1 feet and can only eat small fish and crustaceans. It's nice that usually the scariest looking things are only, like, tiny. That's good. It's not always the case, but it's kind of, it's like a natural nerf over time. I mean, kind of like ugly cute. I like them. I like learning about them. Fangtooth. Fuck this thing. Appropriately named ogrefish, they are considered to be one of the scariest fish according to some reputable sources, aka top list ranking YouTube channels. They do have the biggest teeth in proportion to any animal currently alive. Even though they look vicious, they're like the previous ferocious looking fish on this fish. I don't know what that means. That is a weird sentence. They are like the previous ferocious looking fish on this fish. What does that mean? They aren't blessed with the deep sea gigantism and only grow up to around 7 inches. Plus, their eyes can't see very well. But to make up for their bad sight, they're lined with sensory organs that can help them feel the slightest movements around them. So that's good. Again, there's like small mercies around on this planet. It's like, you know, that wouldn't be cool if you went swimming and that was the size of like a dolphin. That wouldn't be cool. I mean, look what happened with the Jaws movie. Now, imagine, I mean, it actually cut down beach tourism when the movie Jaws came out. Imagine shit like this was the size of a shark. Deep sea dragonfish. This is a cool looking one. That looks more like the Mario 64 eel. That's cool. These are indeed worthy of their title, dragonfish, but just like almost everything else so far, they aren't even close to being big. In fact, these fish are usually tiny when they're sighted alive in their natural habitats. But some have been documented being around 20 inches. Enough about sizes, though. These fish are specialized predators. Some species have 2 photophores under each eye. One lights up blue, which usually attracts prey. The other one lights up red and is used as a searchlight. Red colors are usually invisible at these depths, but their eyes have evolved to boost the reds in the light spectrum. To put it simpler, these fish are cheaters and have wall hacks enabled. In a recent study, it has been discovered that the fish's entire body can flash blue. Not much is known about this behavior, but my guess is that it's used to deter or startle predators. Very interesting. That just looks like the xenomorph in its, like, early state. Like, this is, like, what comes out of a xenomorph's mouth. That is Giger. Very much so. Yeah, if you take away the eye. Wow, that's really small, though. It's just, of course, when you see it like this, like super up close, it's the scariest fucking looking thing you've ever seen. Looks like an eggplant. Oh, there it is. There's the body flashing blue. Cool. Really interesting creature. Alright, this next one is the Chimera. Unfortunately, these are not mythical creatures from Greek mythology, but they're alien enough to make it onto the list. These abyss-dwelling fish have cartilage instead of bones, and their faces are dotted with sensory organs which detect electrical signals in the water. If these features sound like they belong to a shark, chimeras are closely related to sharks and rays. They're sometimes nicknamed ghost shark due to their ghostly appearance. Yeah. That checks out. Oh, wow. Bigger than I thought. That's a very, very strange shape. And then there's this one with a big floppy nose, and I'm no longer frightened. Coelacanth, everybody. Took me a while to learn how to pronounce that. Would just play Animal Crossing and be like, Coelacanth. Coelacanth. The living definition of a living fossil. These fish were originally thought to have gone extinct 64 million years ago, but they were rediscovered in 1938 off the coast of South Africa. Thanks to this rediscovery and their current fossil records, it's believed that these fish have been around for 400 million years and have seen little to no evolution during their time in seclusion. Sadly, only 2 species remain as of today. Even though they've endured the reign of the dinosaurs and the previous mass extinctions, maybe it's best we leave these living fossils alone to ensure the longevity of their species. Well, if they haven't evolved much, maybe this is like endgame for like humans. This is the Earth creature. It's peak form. It may not look it, chat, but this is the peak body that everyone desires. Earth has produced its perfect species, and it's just chilling in a dark cave. They're really cool looking too, aren't they? Massive. Oh, it's smiling. I'm just checking for some additional images. Okay. Gulper eel. Also called pelican eels. These oceanic nightmares look like they have an appetite that surpasses ours. Their literal gape of a mouth is able to expand along with their stomach to accommodate food that can be sometimes bigger than themselves. Thankfully, we're way too big to fit in the mouth of one of these things. They aren't the best at swimming, but they have a photophore at the tip of their tail to bring prey to them. There's the, so yeah, gaping mouths. I've never said gaping mouths more times in my life in a row than tonight. But this is the one time where it's acceptable to do so, and to say so, and it's scientifically sound. That's, wow. That is really fucking crazy, though. How much it can open its mouth. The next one, chat, is called the Black Swallower. And it says here, I know the name is an innuendo time bomb, but please behave yourselves. These fish have an appetite that can even surpass the previously mentioned entry and has the evidence to back up that claim. They will attempt to swallow any fish bigger than themselves whole thanks to their incredibly elastic stomachs. But this does have some drawbacks. Sometimes they will eat prey that's a little too big and will eventually rip open, occasionally allowing some prey to swim free. Wow. Talk about your eyes being bigger than your stomach. Other times, depending on the size of the prey, there's not enough time for them to completely digest and will start to decompose inside the stomach. As decomposition takes place, gases will start to release and that will end up inflating the stomach, making the fish float up to the surface. What a wretched fucking existence. Someone just said in chat, stupid idiot fish. It doesn't know any better. It's just, I mean, Oh, I've seen this image. Oh god. That's this thing? Yeah, that is actually like kind of disturbing sight. Fucking hell, it's the nut sack. No, it's not the nutfish, that's a different one. Hagfish. These fish are truly primitive. They have 5 hearts, no true eyes, and most notably, no stomach. They sometimes prey on small invertebrates, but these fish are master scavengers. They'll eat anything dead or decaying with possibly the most unnatural set of jaws I've ever seen. They're able to squirm and contort themselves to remove bigger chunks of flesh, even tying themselves into knots. But what they're most known for is the way they defend themselves. They can produce copious amounts of translucent, sticky slime in order to deter predators, sometimes clogging the attacker's gills and suffocating them in the process. The amount of slime one can produce is mind-boggling. To understand how much that is, there was an incident that happened back in 2017 where a truck carrying several hagfish overturned and turned the area into what some call a goon cave. Oh man, there's a news report of this. Once again, chat, behave yourselves, it says here. All right, here, let's take a look at these images. We've got a lot of images of this particular fish. Oh god. Yeah, this is very alien. Fleshy. Just flesh things. Ah! Oh, no! It really do be looking like that shit, though. Oh, God! I can't believe that. How did the truck overturn? I really, really would like to know how that happened.
Right on Highway 101, slime eels cover the road. Right on Highway 101, slime eels cover the road after a truck full of them tipped over, covering everything in a slimy film.
Ooh, KGW's Mike Benner's near Depot Bay where this happened. Mike, the highway's back open now, but this was a mess cleanup crews will not be forgetting anytime soon.
That's for sure, Laurel. Just think about it. How often do first responders go out on a call only to find nearly $200,000 worth of fish strewn about the ground? Not very often, but that was the case today, just about a mile to the north of us. Take a look at some pictures and video from the scene.
That is
quite unbelievable images, if you ask me. This all unfolded around noon today.
And they're all like gonna die now, I guess.
Also
that
known
sucks.
as slime eel, overturned. Listen to this: 7,500 pounds of fish spilled onto the highway. 101 was covered in slime. So too were a bunch of vehicles that had crashed into each other as a result of what happened. It was quite the mess.
Oh God!
Firefighters tell me they used 5,000 gallons of water to clean the highway. One firefighter said it's one of the weirdest calls he's ever been on, and that sentiment was shared by witnesses as well.
Fucking bulldozer.
We had actually had quite a few visitors from out of town that were just kind of blown away by what they encountered, and then a few people who were a little squirmish about live eels all over the ground.
Oh, funny, man.
Obviously, a lot of people getting a good chuckle out of this one. Social media, of course, is blowing up with comments, and
Why?
we'll take a look at some of those comments later on in the newscast.
Don't take a look at the comments. Don't look at the comments. Don't look at the comments. Don't look at the comments. All right, cool. Wow, that's a crazy story. I'm surprised I hadn't heard of that one. Whale shark is next. Okay, I know this one doesn't fit the criteria, but I wanted to include this entry so we can get some sort of baseline for the next 7 entries. Okay. Whale sharks are currently the biggest fish alive. They can grow up to 18 to 32 feet in length and weigh as much as 20 tons. The largest specimen was measured at a massive 61.7 feet long. That's fucking huge. They may seem intimidating due to their being the biggest sharks alive, but they're harmless. They're filter feeders, meaning they inhale gallons upon gallons of water in order to get mouthfuls of plankton and other tiny organisms. They even sometimes show curiosity when people swim around them. I can confirm this since I swam with 4 that reside at the Georgia Aquarium back in 2016. Scary yet surreal experience. That is a mouth that is definitely inhaling plankton. That's gotta suck, though. I mean, but you're just, like, inhaling, like, plankton all the time. You don't even get to taste your food. Well, I guess it's better than having one of them eels float in, right? I guess this is the one from the aquarium. Massive. All right. Basking shark. This is when the sharks start to get weird. Basking sharks are the second largest species of fish to date. Their average length is around 22 to 29 feet long, while the biggest one was clocked in at 40.3 feet long. Just like the previous entry, they are gentle giants and have similar diet. But instead of filter feeding... I can't listen to this for the entirety of me reading that. Instead of filter feeding, what they do what's called ram feeding. They swim with their mouths wide open, funneling in the plankton and other small organisms. Because of this behavior, it adapted and evolved to have this giant mouth most of us recognize. Also, one of these sharks, albeit dead and decomposing, was captured by a Japanese fisherman east of New Zealand and was classified as the cryptid globster we know as the Zoyumaru carcass. I wonder if I've seen that. That might be the one I'm thinking of. Let's see. I'm just kind of organizing some stuff here. They have a very good front image. That's really good. It says 108 is good emote material since it's pogging. Imagine saying that this thing is pogging and like telling someone that like 20 years ago. Here's the megamouth shark. These odd-looking sharks are incredibly rare and very hard to find. It's the smallest of the plankton-eating sharks. The previous 2 entries are the only other plankton eaters, usually growing up to 18 feet long, although there is one report where one was estimated to be 25 feet long. Not a lot of info about these graceful giants since they seem to be very elusive, but through what we've learned, it is believed that they spend most of their time swimming in the depths at a staggering 15,000 feet below the ocean surface, and will sometimes swim up to the surface at night to feed. As a side note, some people, including some ranking YouTubers, will sometimes confuse these sharks with previous entry due to the name. Dude got a picture of himself with a rare shark. Imagine that. Here too. Pretty cool. There's a good view. Yeah. I guess megamouth shark is pretty apt. Pacific sleeper shark and Greenland shark. Okay. Put these two together because they're almost exact same shark. The only notable thing that makes them different is where they live. Thanks to their incredibly slow and sluggish metabolism, these sharks are able to live up to 400 years, making them the oldest living vertebrae. Wow. They're deep-sea scavengers, as well as opportunistic predators. One thing that's kind of unfortunate about these sharks is that every one that has been observed has had a parasitic copepod attached to their eyes, impairing their vision. Although they spend most of their lives in deep water, so it's usually black most of the time. There's a piece of footage that was released a few years back depicting a cage containing bait being monitored by a camera built for a deep-sea study. An exploration and a Pacific sleeper shark swam into view trying to make its way to the bait. But whoever got a hold of the footage claimed it to be evidence of a living megalodon. I read that sentence a little fucked up. It was a little run-on, kind of, but that's all good. This one here. So this was cited as evidence of megalodon still existing. Cool. Next is the cookie cutter shark. These little guys are bastards. They've developed into parasites and evolved the right equipment for the job. They're called cookie cutter sharks because of how they feed. Their foreskin-looking mouth is built for sticking onto prey via suction, which allows them to take chunks out of whatever it wants, including people. When they're done feeding, they will leave behind a perfect circle of exposed flesh. They've even been known to take chunks out of the neoprene sonar dome boots on submarines during the Cold War. Wow. Their mouth suckers are very disturbing to me. Oh, God! Yeah, I actually, oh God, that's what it looks like when it takes a chunk out of a shark. Aw. That's life. Nature is cruel. And yet giving, but cruel nonetheless. The frilled shark. These sharks are considered to be living fossils since they haven't really evolved for about 80 million years. They live and hunt in the cold, dark abyss, so they're hardly ever seen. Most sightings are usually seen in the nets of ocean trawlers, sadly. Not only that, but they have a gestation period of 3.5 years, so by the time it gives birth, the shark should be well baked. Just like the coelacanth, it's better to leave these ancient sharks alone so they can have a chance to continue and maybe branch their species. Fun fact, the shark was possibly used as a reference material for the designer of the second form of our favorite king of monsters in the movie Shin Godzilla. I think we have an image that we can... Whoa! Oh, no, oh, that actually... I just, like, recoiled looking at that. Imagine your arm caught in there. Yeah, I don't like this thing. I can see why it was used as inspiration for a kaiju film. Oh, there it is. That's kind of funny. That's really what he looks like in his second form. Wow. Goblin shark. I'm aware of this one. These guys should need no introduction. Just like the previous entry, they spend most of their lives in and hunt in the deep depths of the ocean. Food doesn't come by often, so they've evolved to be opportunistic predators. The reason they're so well known is because of how they hunt. When prey is close, their jaws pop out like the eyes of a stress relief doll. I know there's someone getting bit in the footage, but they're fine. The shark's jaws are pretty weak. We got footage? Oh, in this footage. Right. I've seen this before. Yeah, the jaw thing is nuts. It's like, I know, you know, we can talk about the theory of evolution and all that fun stuff. We could talk about how nature, this is just, you know, millions upon millions of years of all the right elements creating life. But then, like, you see something like this, and my question, it kind of goes back to the chat member from a little while ago, and I'm just like, why? Man, it's fascinating. It is absolutely fascinating. This is the viper dogfish. These rare sharks are almost like goblin sharks, except they're a lot smaller. They can grow up to being around 2 feet on average and possess jet black skin, making them somewhat invisible. They also used photophores to try and attract prey into their jaws that can shoot outward. There's not a lot of info on these sharks since there's only been a few sightings. Little fellas. Yep, there's the goblin shark thing again. I wonder if the goblin shark inspired Alien, the xenomorph. But yeah, really, really creepy. Really creepy. That jaw thing. Don't like it. Don't like looking at it. Here's the Magnapina squid. Okay. Now we're getting into the very alien and strange territory, starting with possibly the most alien thing that exists in the ocean. Also known as big fin squid. These bizarre squids can grow to an astounding 20 feet, but that's mostly tentacle length. Speaking of tentacles, they appear to be elbowed and spaced apart. The possible reason they're arranged like this is because of their feeding behavior. They will sit in the water, letting their tentacles dangle, allowing whatever comes into contact with them to get caught. Elbowed tentacles. I think I've seen this video. Oh yeah, I have. Oh my god. Okay, so I do have, one of my fears is the deep ocean. It's not like a terrible fear, but it's something. Because of shit like this, I think my main fear is being in the middle of the ocean. I've talked about it, and like, just floating on the surface, and just not knowing what's below you. And like, do you ever see like images of maybe like the camera is like kind of zoomed out, and like you see underneath is just a shadow of like a whale or a giant shark, that kind of shit. But then when I look at stuff like this, it's like I would not want to even see that near me. There's a newer video of one that shows it actively moving first time. Can you link that? Oh, is this it? Hmm. Yeah, that was the low rider video. Hang on. This seems to be 6 months ago. Is that the bait? Is just like some crusty, rotten fish? Hmm. Really cool. There you go. There's, I think, a still from that image. Next is the flasher squid. These ones are one of my favorites, also known as Dana octopus squid. These aggressive squids can be big, be up to 7.5 feet long, and their mantles can reach 5.6 feet wide, weigh up to 356 pounds. Although sightings are rare, the remains are mostly seen inside the stomachs of sperm whales, sometimes elephant seals. What sets these squids apart from others is that they've evolved to have photophores on two of its arms. They're the largest light-producing organs in the animal kingdom, roughly the size of a lemon, and they use them to attract prey and display aggression. There's a video I included of one of the squids getting chased by an elephant seal, the camera mounted on it. There's also a brief cameo from a squid we'll discuss 7 entries from now, which that may not happen tonight, but let's take a look and see what we've got here. Oh yeah, the light, the photopores are actually very, very obvious at that, when you look at them like that. Wow. Wait, no, sorry, there's a different one. That's a different one. Sorry, chat. I made a mistake there. Here, let's go to squidchase.mp4. Wow. Oh shit. Yeah, you can see the lights. Why did they put a camera on an elephant seal? Like, what the fuck is happening here? I want to know the story of this elephant seal. Just for fun? Yeah, I guess anything, right? Why not? Okay. Blanket octopus. So that's this one. These octopuses, and yes, that is the correct plural term, are one of the most beautiful creatures swimming in our ocean's waters. They can grow up to 6.6 feet long and have long and colorful webbing that connect the dorsal and dorsolateral arms. They use their webbing when threatened in hopes of scaring off potential predators. But, just like some of the previous entries, males are not safe from extreme sexual dimorphism. Males are less than an inch, and the reason they're so small is because their main function in life is to produce sperm for the females to use in reproduction. What's interesting about these octopuses is that they can rip off the tentacles of the Portuguese man-o'-war, an entry we'll cover later, and use them as defensive weapons? Well, a part 2 is guaranteed for this segment. Oh, how tiny. That's the male of the species. Wow. That is a very interesting octopus indeed. The true aliens of our planet. The octopus, which, you know, that doesn't make them... We're aliens to them. This is their planet. We're just living on it. On the surface. Argonaut. Also called paper nautilus. These octopuses are one of the only few pelagic octopuses that exist currently, one of the others being the previous entry. They earned their nickname from the odd ability to create a thin calcite shell. They use this shell to float through the ocean and to shield their eggs, but just like some of the other previous entries, the males are incredibly small. Sadly, they can't make a shell. You can probably imagine what their main purpose is in life. Oh yes, I had a spectacular goon cave. In fact, I had a goon shell on the ocean floor. No, it's not using a wrapper as a shell, is it? That's not going to protect it from anything. Yep, those are the shells. Wow, those are cool. Okay, I'm starting to get a little tired here, so we'll do one more. Planktoteuthus. Planktoteuthus? Because of how little info there is for these guys, there's not a lot I can say about them. The only information I can find is that they live in the lower mesopelagic to the bathypelagic zones, which go from deep to very deep. We learned about that earlier, class. They have a rather bizarre structure protruding from the top of their mantles, and nobody really knows why it's there. My guess is that it's used to mimic the appearance of a siphonophore, whatever that is. We only have these two images. It looked huge, but now they look tiny. So I don't know if they're big or they're tiny. That was a really quick entry, so we'll just do one more. Ram's horn squid. Okay. These tiny squids were never seen alive and were only studied through dead specimens, but that changed on October 27th, 2020, because a live specimen was spotted in its natural habitat and filmed for the first time. They get their name from the buoyant and durable shell that they have inside of their bodies. And just the shells will sometimes wash ashore, period. They are also called the tail-light squid because of the photophore they have at the end. Photophore that they have at the end of their mantle. So we've got a number of entries here for this one. This fella's got a lot. There's their shells. Those are cool. Fibonacci would be so pleased. So beautiful. So we're going to go quick, but here it is being filmed. It looks like it has a little propeller, but I know that's not the case. Wow. Little guy. Was it smoking? I hope it didn't get started smoking. It's not easy to quit. I think that's its face. I went extra, chat. I went extra. This is a different squid entirely. See, it's late. What you've been looking at was the cockatoo squid, actually. So, sorry. I forgot to number some entries in their 60s for some reason. No wonder I did the wrong entries. It went from photo 157 to 171. So this is the cockatoo squid. I'll read this. Bonus squid. Here's a bonus squid, chat. These squids are indeed bizarre. To hide themselves in the deep, dark depths of the ocean, they possess near-translucent bodies. They're sometimes called glass squids, but that name belongs to a different squid that is almost completely transparent as well. What's interesting about this species is that they belong to the same family that contains the colossal squid. So it's theorized that the colossal squid may also have their tentacles pointing upwards like the cockatoo squid. So this is the cockatoo squid. So is this, the one that was smoking, and this one. So that's why it was like a very different thing from this. But yeah. So that's it for now. Next time, I mean, we've got more squids. We've got, I think, crustaceans. Just as a preview, we got shit like this. We've got some more videos. I mean, the person that made this pack They didn't really cut down too much. There's just a lot here. There's like another 2 hours worth of material here, probably hour and a half. But it's interesting. I mean, there's like I said, crustaceans. We got shrimps. We got worms. Jellyfish. And something called the headless chicken monster. And sponges even. So it's definitely something that's piqued my interest. And I hope you enjoyed this. We learned, but also there was some stuff that was fucking weird and maybe a little bit, like, unsettling. So, we live on a strange planet with a lot of strange creatures, and according to this one chat member, who is Jim Cameron, over 3/4 of our ocean is unexplored, as well as mapped. So, yeah, I mean, even though it is our planet, there's still a lot of stuff that we haven't discovered, that we know little about, and that just seems so utterly different from what we're used to. Because, I mean, look at it. Just functions that seem like science fiction and magic. And, like, there was the one fish that had the red eye. It was like one eye was blue to attract prey, and then the other one was red. It's like mental. Also, when I learn about deep sea life, it makes me think that there's more potential for life to exist outside of Earth, which I'm like 100% convinced in my mind. There's no question. Even if we're just talking about like little, like organisms or like kind of fauna, I'm thinking that when you see stuff that lives and survives near those really, really scorching temperatures, near vents, thermal vents, and they just kind of have different sets of circumstances for life and for what they need to live, it makes me think, well, the conditions on other planets are, yeah, pretty vastly different to what we expect life to survive on Earth. But as Jeff Goldblum once said, go fuck yourself. No, life finds a way. He said it. He said technically life finds a way. And then he also said, I'm a fly. Look at me, I'm a fly. Anyway, thank you for watching this segment. I hope you enjoyed it. I like doing stuff like this once in a while, and I'm open to more interesting educational things where I just read for a while. I think it's kind of cool. I'm not here to be David Attenborough, but I'm definitely enjoying stuff like this. Whether it be UFOs or deep sea life or just strange noises and unexplainable things, it's just fun. So, if you have an idea for a segment like this, let me know before you make the pack, and then we'll figure it out. Thank you, Slender Ender Guy, for making this. Thalassophobic Curiosities will return. Chat, thank you for watching Sunday Stream. It's been an interesting one. We had muscly muscle butt people. We had Nintendo 64 games. There was even a dinosaur, luckily. But it was fun. And I appreciate your continued viewership. I don't say it enough how lucky I am that I get to do shit like this and have people actively interested in what I have to say. I don't take it for granted. I see people doing the sub bombing. I don't have hype trains or whatever enabled. Please consider saving your money. You do what you want with your money, right? I say please don't, because I know money's tight and life is tough, and I'm already doing okay. Sure, one sub is fine, and especially one sub from a lot of people is very fine. I'm very okay with that. But when people are spending $50 on me, $100 in rare cases, it's like, I feel bad. So the reason I don't mention it and mention people by name, or even sometimes I just ignore it completely, is because I don't necessarily want to encourage people to spend more money on me. Again, it's one thing if you want to spend your Amazon Prime sub, or just like $5 or however much, 6, whatever. But yeah, I don't mind if you don't do that. I'm doing okay. Buy a piece of merch or donate to a charity stream, and I'll be happy. So, yeah. All right. So thank you. Thank you, mods, for helping me out as always. I appreciate you. Thank you, anyone who submits Sunday stream stuff. Thanks, Mad Clown, for the help earlier with the YouTube poops. And good night. This week, be doing Croc. We'll be doing more Yoshi's Island. Going to finish that up. I might check out that drug dealer game. There's the, what's it called? Fucking Schedule 1. And on top of that, we're just going to continue playing all kinds of random shit. So stop by for more streams. Tomorrow, I will be streaming at the normal time, about 9 p.m. Eastern. And I will be covering the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct Wednesday morning. I will be up early for that. So you're going to want to stop by at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. I'll be sure to buy half and half for my coffee. 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific. What the fuck? But it'll be worth it. I think it's... good night, chat. I'll see you later.